I think it's safe to say this year hasn't gone exactly as anyone had planned. During the summer before the start of the placement year, I had planned out generally what I was going to do with my year. I was mainly going to focus on my dance photography career, as this is the style of photography I had been working with all my time as a photographer. I also planned to branch into other areas, such as birthdays, newborn shoots, and pet photography. However, when lockdown was announced and pretty much everything was shut, I was at a loss as I had no idea what I was going to do with my year, as my dance photography was mainly action shot and result images at competitions. I started out on the CUSU Evolve course, which helped me to realise why I wanted to be a photographer in the first place and not just have it be a hobby. We covered many things on the Evolve course that I would have never have thought of by myself, like why colours of logos and branding are so important. It also helped me to understand the different behind the scenes aspects of creating a business, like money management and actually having to be a registered business. These types of things would have come to me, but much later on down the line. So I am very grateful for the knowledge and experience I received on the Evolve course. The first thing I decided to do was update my editing styles to make all my projects more cohesive. I wanted to do this so I had a distinctive style throughout all my work. On the left is how I used to edit. You can see it's quite dark and flat. On the right is how I edit now. As you can see, it's a lot lighter and airier. In the middle, you can see the presets I have created in Lightroom for my work. I created these presets based on trial and error and what I thought looked good in my images. I created many different presets that still work together but yet are very easy to integrate to my imagery. My first job of the year was to take photos of my local pub's new food. This was a really big deal for me as I had never done food photography before, so I was slightly nervous when I got there. When I did get there, I evaluated the situation and thought about what my best approach would be to photograph the food. I brought my box lights with me, which were vital as the pub didn't have great lighting. I didn't put a backdrop on the food as I still wanted the images to look very pub-like, yet professional. When I got into it, it wasn't as hard as I anticipated and it was rather quite fun. The end result, I think, came out amazingly and it really shows you how good the food is. After this experience, I have definitely thought about food photography as a potential area of speciality as I was able to better my skills with this shoot. After the food photography job, business was slow again, so I decided to revamp my business cards to have them reflect my business better. I already had my logo in which I decided to keep, however I changed the colours slightly. I chose a purple as it conveys creativity and ambition. I believe my brand conveys the same things. Then I chose a dark grey for the writing. I did this because I thought black would be too harsh of a colour. I couldn't think of anything else I would want on the front of the business card, as I didn't want it to be too cluttered. So I decided to go with a simple paintbrush stroke on both sides. On the back, I still kept it minimalistic with just my Instagram, Facebook and email in the same colours as my logo. I was starting to think about what I could do at home as events still weren't being allowed to go ahead. I came across the idea of product photography, which I thought was perfect as I could get the owners to ship me their products and I could photograph them then send them back. I contacted many small businesses. Most of them ignored me, most said they weren't interested at all, and one girl wanted to find out more. This girl was the owner of a small business called Shop Resin, a handmade jewellery business. I had actually purchased some of her jewellery before I tried product photography. I explained to her that I was interested in product photography for the experience, not the money. This suited her as she couldn't afford to pay me at the moment. In the end, we came to an agreement where we would both promote each other on each other's social medias. So I photographed the earrings I already had bought from her, and sent the images to her. It didn't bother me that there was no money involved, as it wasn't the main reason for me contacting the small businesses. I really did want just the experience of photographing for somebody. I did enjoy giving my product photography to Shot Resin as I tried out many different ideas. I eventually settled on the things you see on the screen. Venturing into product photography made me realise that not everyone will want or need product photography, and you'll have to contact many people to finally get one person to contact you back. This is something I didn't expect, and I'm grateful that it happened to me now rather than later on down the line. The next opportunity I had to take pictures was when we had our snow days. I've always loved snow images as I feel there is something very fresh about them. I started with taking images of my dogs in the snow, as I knew they would ruin the fresh snow very quickly. Then I moved on to taking images of all the objects in my garden, most notably this gorgeous tree in my front garden. I loved the way the white contrasts with the red in the images. It was actually quite difficult to photograph in the snow. I looked up many articles before heading out to see the general settings I should have on my camera. I took these into consideration when I first started out, but then I grew more confident in the snow and started playing with the settings to find my unique style. With the snow day, it was also an opportunity to strengthen my skills with pet photography, which I appreciated. Overall, I think the snow day was very beneficial to me and my skills, as snow is not something we see that often. I then started on my own personal project. I became very intrigued by the lighting and shadows that the sun and the blinds in my room were creating. I started photographing it because I thought it looked very pretty, and I continued taking the images every day and I became more fascinated by it. It was interesting to me as no 2 days were the same, as the hues of the sunset changed daily. This project is not finished yet, as I want to see how many different variations of colour I can capture. This project helped me understand my camera settings more, as I wanted the images to look rustic, but I still needed them light enough so that you could see the detail. This project has also helped me see how angling of an image can make it go from boring to intriguing. My final commission of the year was to photograph the juice for Fresh Citrus MCR. Fresh Citrus MCR is a company from Manchester who supply freshly squeezed juice to hotels and restaurants. They contacted me as they wanted new images for their brand. As I had already ventured into product photography a little bit, I was more confident this time around. However, I did need to take it one step further because this was a professional company. I also had free reign over the image and styling composition, meaning I tried a lot of ideas. One idea I really liked and ran with was to cut up fresh fruit and photograph it, as well as the bottles. This idea worked really well and was loved by the company. As you can see from the images, I styled the fruit in a way that is eye-catching and where the fruit looks its best. Overall, I was really happy with how these came out, and I was confident in myself that I was able to produce what the company was asking me to create. This job definitely took me from strength to strength, developing my product photography skills even more. In conclusion, this year has ended up being one of the best things that could have happened to me as a photographer. At first, I thought COVID-19 was a massive bump in the road and I wouldn't get to develop my dance photography skills. Instead, I have been able to broaden my skills and broaden my interests with different types of photography, most of which I wouldn't have even thought of in the first place. This year has pushed me out of my comfort zone, and I'm very glad it has, as it made me realise that I'm a better photographer than I thought, and it gave me the confidence to trial other areas of photography. This year has also made me realise it's okay to fail and it's okay to do trial and error, as we can all learn from our mistakes, and I will become a better photographer because of it.